Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for April 26, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 17. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmtown.com. That's what powers everything here. And along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about five articles. I held up both hands saying 5 articles. Math is hard. So is, I guess, the physical representation of 5. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about they're coming for us, run! Quantum telepathy, humanoid workers and surveillance buggies, gestures predict words, and VR dentists. That's all Reality Hacker today. And then after that, we're going to switch shows to Wanted, and then after that, we're going to switch shows to the Continuity Report. But again, everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen. Why is that so loud? Okay, that's wild. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, that was really loud, wasn't it? Okay, let's get into it. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt. Hello, hometown citizens.
My shirt actually has green in it, so as I move
Oh, that's strange.
the mask behind me, the green screen is just bleeding through whatever is on the screen. Jeez,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's like the little-known white T-Rex.
Yes, the albino T-Rex. That's right. And there's other ones, like this one right here is a velociraptor that's chasing a human. And then the T-Rex is chasing these humans. And then there's something, the windows are green in here. So.
Yeah, that's really strange.
Yeah. So as a general rule, if you're going to have a green screen, don't wear anything green yourself. Although I have been thinking about wearing nothing but what are those Zentai green suits. So all you see is this sitting there.
That would be really strange.
Or an LED. I'm going to get a helmet because I found the Terminator body. So I'm going to slowly morph over to my Terminator form before you can get hold of the Terminator body. Because if anybody's going to take over the world, it's going to have to be Mayor Watt. Anyway.
We'll see.
So this show is a Reality Hacker, and that's this channel inside ohmtown.com. There's a bunch of different channels, right? 6 main categories and 50 channels. We do 7 shows. 6 of them are weekly. 1 of them is a daily. The daily is non-sequitur news, but Reality Hacker has a bunch of articles, and so we're going to talk about the first one. A bunch of robots ran a half marathon alongside humans, and it was incredibly goofy, it says here in the article. Why not? Beijing held what's being called the world's first half marathon for robots, allowing bipedal robots to compete alongside human runners, and as one might suggest or expect, ridiculousness ensued. The robots, which had human operators running with them, for the most part struggled to make it through the course at all, let alone complete the full 13 miles within the 4-hour cutoff time. One fell at the starting line, which that happens at BMX competitions. Bloomberg reported this, but we got it from Engadget. Dun, dun, dun. Cheyenne McDonald put the article together for Engadget.com. Text statement says many of the robots wore human running shoes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did the humans have to run the half marathon as well to keep up with the robots?
Yeah. I mean, robots, if I understand it correctly, there were human runners, but the human runners could run the full distance without the robot. And then the robots had human operators behind them making it like this, right? They were leashed so they wouldn't fall over and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair or whatever, or thousands of dollars for that matter. But regardless, yeah, there were human operators, and then I think there were actual runners as well.
Yeah, like human participants in the race.
Right, yeah. So Let's see. Actually, there's a little video. I don't know if this is going to pull me over to something. I really don't like it when it does that, but whatever.
Okay, this is pretty good for those in the podcast.
Yeah.
It's probably what you'd expect. Like it looks like a regular running race, except there's a robot running with humans.
Yeah, the first one looked like a kind of gangly grandpa running, and then 3 people behind it controlling it. And then the next one looked like an 8-year-old running. Oh my gosh. And then another one looks like a, what is it? B-11 or something like that. Star Wars. 88, B-88 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's the ball. Is it B-11? No, that B-11 isn't it.
The
Which
one
one is that?
from Mandalorian, I think.
Yeah. What is his name? IG-11. That's right. IG-11.
Okay.
So one of them looked like IG-11. This one looks like he's going to fall back at any given moment. Come on,
This
son.
is pretty interesting to watch.
I love this. This is awesome.
I want to go to this event.
Oh my gosh. This looks like, that one. See, this is the one that I could handle, like going and doing stuff.
It looks like it's trying to do the walk in Dune.
Yeah.
It's kind of doing this like swoosh to the side thing.
The dune walk. This one's pretty funny too. Its arms are just
really
stuck straight out and it's just walking.
It looks like it's sticking its thumbs up.
Hey, I can do this. Hey. Wow. Basically it looks like your standard fare bar crawl downtown. After a little too many, you're like, wow, it takes a village of robots. Look at this one. This one looks like it. So many robots. Oh, no.
Some of them move really slowly. Some of them have lots of movements to move. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that
There's
one's
a small
cool.
robot. Yeah.
That one's like,
it
yeah,
looks like
what's
it belongs
up?
at Disney or something.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's just amazing.
This is really entertaining.
The best one was the one that whenever they stopped pushing him forward, he just wandered off towards.
Yes. Exactly.
Where's the bathroom?
Okay, that one's weird because it's dressed in clothing. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, some of them are broaching Uncanny Valley. All right. Well, anyway, according to Bloomberg, 21 robots participated in the race, but the winner, it says ex-humanoids, 5'10" Tiangong Ultra, was one of only 4 to make it all the way to the end of the allotted time, and at 2 hours 40 minutes, its finishing time was more than double that of the winning human runners. So the human runners made it through, no problem, of course. So, along with the Ultra, which ran at around 5 miles per hour, the robot runners included Noetics Robotics N2, a Gundam-inspired robot, a female-looking bot called Huan Huan, and the 30-inch tall Little Giant robot made by local college students. Again, Bloomberg reports this. Many of them were wearing human running shoes, it says again. All right, that's just brilliant. Okay, we got to keep moving. I love this. This next article is over in Technology Today, which is a deeper dive, and it's going to be a show that's on tomorrow. But this, I guess, was submitted for today. Oh, and if you want today's articles, let me do this real quick. I always fail to do this at the beginning of the show. If you hit ! RH, then Omatron throws it into the chat over on Twitch, but it's already, all 3 of the shows are embedded in the description over on the YouTube. Dunk. So I hope you're hanging out. If you're in Twitch or on YouTube, then post a comment. If not, that's what most people do, are just kind of hanging out, listening to this, downloading the podcast. Podcast is up to date, over 2,100 episodes. Go check it all out. Oh, so Quantum telepathy goes real. How lasers and ions outsmarted logic. I have no idea what this is really about. Physicists have successfully played a mind-bending quantum game using a real-world quantum computer in which lasers shuffle around ions on a chip to explore the strange behavior of qubits. By creating a special knotted structure of entangled particles, the team demonstrated, and I think demonstrated is kind of the...
Yeah, that's the key word, given what this is.
It's hyphenated. It's hyphenated demon-strated on our site. That today's quantum machines can already outperform classical strategies in certain tasks. You doing okay?
I am, but I'm a little glitchy today.
Okay. Well, if you have to reset or find something else to do, that's fine. University of Colorado at Boulder put the article together. It's over at scitechdaily.com. By creating this special thing, it says this high-stakes game isn't just fun. It's proof of scalable, error-resistant quantum computing, maybe closer than we think. It says it was outperforming classical strategies in certain tasks and with surprising reliability. Which, look, if it's outperforming classical strategies in certain tasks, it better be reliable, because otherwise it's not outperforming classical strategies.
Right, it's not even really underperforming because it's not in the same comparison.
It's not performing. So that's the concept explored in a recent study published in the Physical Review Letters. A team of theoretical physicists from Colorado developed a new kind of quantum quote-unquote game designed to run on real quantum hardware, a type of computer that uses particles like atoms to perform complex calculations. So what are quantum computers good for? Absolutely nothing. Wonder if that's the next song, you know?
That would be funny.
Oh, that's what happened, huh?
That'll be the cover of it.
So, yeah, the audio button is hard.
Like I said, a little glitchy.
A little glitchy. So it says small-scale quantum devices are rapidly coming online, said Nan Kishore, associate professor in the Department of Physics at CU Boulder. That really prompts the question, what are they good for? A lot, potentially, it says here. It's kind of funny. Associate professor, there's ranks. There's assistant professor, associate professor, professor, and then there's others that fall in there, like lecturer is below any of the professor ranks and stuff like that. And then there's emeritus and all these other ranks. And I got into a discussion, and so somebody got really haughty-taughty about their position as being professor, right? And so I was like, but you're professor here, and you're arguing that because your title is professor, you're at the same level as somebody that's at the Department of Physics at CU Boulder who's working with quantum computers, and they are inferior because your rank is professor.
Because the title is different, right? Yeah.
Like, I don't think
it's a one-for-one.
Gatekeeping is a little absurd at this point. Anyway, you're experts in your domain, suffice it to say, and have respect for each other. But I've been in these arguments before, like a person refused to have a conversation with me because they couldn't just name drop philosophers, and I innately knew everything about that philosopher. Like, all right, I guess I'm not going to be buying you a beer. Anyway, so scientists believe the quantum, again, this is
not non sequitur news, but you would think it is.
Yeah, I was just about to qualify all of this. So scientists believe that quantum computers could one day perform a range of tasks with the speed of unheard of today, mainly because quantum computers can calculate every possibility and output the result immediately, like instantly finding from a massive amount of data what the maximum and minimum is. And it can do that now, but it really isn't that standard utilitarian computing system because it just doesn't operate the same way. But building a quantum computer that works as desired isn't an easy goal, it says here. Unlike your home laptop, which runs on bits or switches that flip to either 0 or 1, a quantum computer hinge on a concept called qubits, quantum bits, basically. And qubits, which are made from atoms or other small objects, which is an absurd kind of a statement right there, or other small objects. They're still at the atomic level.
Right, exactly. Is it smaller or larger than qubits?
It's a qubit, yeah. So, and qubits take on everything in between 0 and 1, which is basically infinity, because it can be infinitely subdivided. But the moment that you look at it to test where it's pointing, 0 or 1 or somewhere in between, it locks it in place, and it has to be wiped out and reset, and that's really not conducive to fast computing. So it says cracking qubits and topological tricks. Qubits are notoriously difficult to control, said study co-author David Stephen, a physicist at Quantinuum.
Wow, that's quite the name.
Yep. So in principle, there was nothing too surprising about this experiment. It worked exactly as they thought it would in theory, but the fact that it did work so well can be seen in the benchmark for the quantum computer. To explore the new way of lassoing these quantum entities, the researchers assembled a network of qubits into what physicists call a topological phase of matter, a bit like a clump of very small knots. The arrangement allowed them to play a simple mathematical game without disrupting the quantum computer in the process, a major challenge for this type of technology. And I'm not I don't really know how they do this kind of thing because I've never seen it in action. I really don't even understand how they manipulate it at this level with any reliability. It's almost like,
How do they even know they're doing it to begin with, right? It's like very tough to measure and quantify.
yeah. So they say quantum entanglement and pseudo-telepathy, which is where quantum physics comes in. Merman, a person involved in this experiment, proposed that in theory you could give each player one of a collection of entangled particles, and entangled particles have interacted in such a way that measuring one will affect the outcome of measuring the other. And that's true even if the particles are separated by, say, a room. Actually, it could be anything because they're quantum entangled, so they're tied together. You measure one, it gives you the measurement of the other, regardless of distance. In a quantum game, players can use these correlations to coordinate their answers. It's a feat so seemingly improbable that scientists nicknamed it quantum pseudo-telepathy. And it's pseudo-telepathy because you actually are measuring one object and it's giving you the information of the other object because they're quantum entangled. And quantum entanglement we've known about for quite some time. But I don't quite get it. It's the spooky at a distance physics.
Right, and I think as computing has improved, right, we've seen an acceleration in this area.
Yeah, so they wanted a different way to make it easier to do this game in the real world. So to do that, the group turned to Quantinuum's system model H1. The device runs off of a chip that can fit in the palm of your hand. It employs lasers to control a collection of as many as 20 qubits. In this case, it's ytterbium ions trapped above the surface of the chip. In the current study, the researchers sent the computer commands online. They arranged the ytterbium ions into a two-dimensional grid so that they generated an unusual quantum structure. Instead of having just 2 or 3 ions that were entangled, the entire collection of ions exhibited an underlying pattern of entanglement, a topological order. It's almost as if the qubits had tied themselves into knots, and those knots aren't easy to unravel. The study apparently is proof of the principle that there is something that quantum devices can already do that outperforms the best classical strategy or classical computing of zeros and ones, and in a way that's robust and scalable. They showed that they were able to achieve quantum pseudo-telepathy and win the game roughly 95% of the time or more, but I still don't know how they did it.
No, I don't either, but I think it still very squarely fits in RealityHacker.
Yeah. You know what else fits into RealityHacker? different article. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Humanoid workers and surveillance buggies embodied AI is reshaping daily life in China.
Like in the marathons.
Sort of, but this is taking people's jobs and watching the people who don't have jobs, apparently, on a misty Saturday afternoon in Shenzhen's Central Park. A gaggle of teenage girls are sheltering from the drizzle under a concrete canopy with their bags of crisps piled high in front of them. They crowd around a couple of smartphones to sing along to Mando Pop, which I don't know what that is. Mando Pop ballads. The sound of their
Maybe
laughter
it's
rings
like
out.
the equivalent of K-pop, but Mandarin.
Oh my gosh. It's almost like you are a sentient AI from the future, and I am just a bag of mostly water. Or
I don't know what that what that comparison means.
Or if you're into vampires, I'm referred to as a blood bag. How about that? No? Bag of mostly water if you're into Star Trek?
How about just away from the bag?
Just a sack of wet flour. That's me. So Amy Hawkins put the article together. It's over at theguardian.com. And so it says what I said before. And what's really interesting is that there's a picture. It says a drone takes off from a rooftop of a shopping mall. But they don't know really, they don't say in the little caption what it is, but they show a picture where somebody took a picture up into the sky. And there's one of these like really heavy duty drones, not military grade drone, but it could operate as that. So a few meters away from the impromptu karaoke session is an airdrop cabinet, one of more than 40 in Shenzhen, that is operated by Meituan, China's biggest food delivery platform. Now, I've seen these little things. They're basically these boxes where something gets delivered and you can pick up your order. Hungry park goers can order anything from rice noodles to Subway sandwiches to bubble tea. A drone loaded with the goods from a shopping mall less than 3 kilometers away flies into view, earshot, hovering over the delivery station for a moment before steadily lowering and depositing the goods into a sealed box that can only be unlocked by entering the customer's phone number. Dinner is served with not a human in sight. Meituan aims to beat human delivery times by about 10%, which, I don't know, seems like a heavy lift to save 10%, but
I don't know. I mean, how long has people waited for pizzas sometimes?
we used to get pizzas within a half hour or something like that, right, of the order, and now what?
Sometimes it's like 2 hours. I mean, it depends on what's going
Domino's
on.
doesn't even promise me, they take my money, and then when I say, y'all never delivered it, they go, oh, our bad. And then they're like, okay, why are you still standing here? And I'm like, because I still don't have my damn pizza.
Still don't have my money or my pizza.
And I don't have my money. And they're like, God, I swear, what is going on in your head, dude? Anyway, so this is kind of what's going on. And here's that article again.
Okay, that's funny about it might be a different one about the marathon.
So this article is basically about these heavy lift drones dropping off food in various places. This right here, I've actually seen quite a few stories about this over the last couple of years. But they say here in January, a previously unknown Chinese firm called DeepSeek set the Chinese tech scene alight with a release of a large language reasoning model R1, which performs as well as U.S. competitors at a fraction of the price. And the model sparked a stock market crash that wiped out $1 trillion off of Wall Street's leading tech index. But this is largely speculation wealth. It's betting against the bettors that are betting against other bettors. And it's irrational. And just today, actually, it was yesterday when I first read this, somebody was really pissed off at Tesla because their $2.5 million worth of money was reduced to $500,000 worth of money.
But it was all on paper.
But Tesla is irrationally valued. But nobody bitches when everything is massively outpriced from
No,
reality.
I mean, it could go the same way in the other direction, and then everybody's happy, and it's like it doesn't matter whether it matches what it should be.
Oh, I need to make these shirts, but it's somebody else's phrase. But boy, do I love it! It's the phrase is something along the lines of this is where ludicrous disconnects from reality or something like that. I'll have to go and look at the report
Right.
again, but I loved it. Anyway, so are these actually worth the solution, the cost, the distribution, plopping a box down and having everything coded to a... So how many of these orders can actually fit inside this thing where you have to...
Exactly. If it's one at a time, that's good while it's not really in use. And then, yeah.
Yeah. But they talk about quite a few things in this article, from robots running the marathon, which is our first article that we talked about, to DeepSeek AIs, to surveillance drones, to people taking jobs. This is actually a teleoperated robot where a person is controlling the hands and arms from this little contraption that's on their back, like a backpack teleoperation system.
Right. I mean, just watch out for when, well, we've already gotten there, right? When the robots are trained humans.
Yep, exactly. And I've seen other reports about how there are now surveillance bots that are walking around, and in one case, rolling around, monitoring the various populations. I think that that's only going to be happening more and more and more and more in the world. So basically, be prepared. We either have to do some radical acceptance, or we're going to, put up the fight, which automation wins every time because...
Yeah, look at any sci-fi type movie with robots, and we seem to be heading that direction.
In that direction.
And most of those are not very pleasant.
But I think it's largely the embodiment of greed and sociopathy, because nobody in their right mind would want to witness human suffering just to make more money so that you can put robots in place of humans. But greed knows no bounds and certainly doesn't know humanity. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting article, but we can't go into the depth that this article manifests. So you really need to go over to The Guardian and read the rest of this. But it is a mishmash.
The Guardian always does an in-depth dive into whatever the topic is. So it's a good source.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile channel. Listeners use gestures to predict upcoming words. Virtual avatar study finds. In face-to-face conversations, speakers use hand movements to signal meaning, but do listeners actually use these gestures to predict what someone might say next? In a study using virtual avatars, scientists from the Max Planck Institute for Psycholinguistics and Radboud University in, I don't know how to pronounce this, Nijmegen? I'm not sure. Showed that listeners use the avatar's gestures to predict an upcoming speech. Both behavioral and EEG data indicated that hand gestures facilitated language processing, illustrating the multimodal nature of human communication.
So this is when the speaker is gesturing, but now it's an avatar gesturing, and people can figure out what comes next because of those gestures.
They apparently intimate from the gesture. So I don't know what that actually means, because it says, like they have a graphic that says, how old were you when you learned to, is this little phrase. But before it is the video onset, then the mouth onset, the question onset, and then there is this, what looks like an EEG, and then 800 millisecond pause of this pre-stimulus oscillations, then mouth onset, and then target word onset, and then question offset, and then the video offset. So this is this gap or this entire space of about 800 milliseconds. So in face-to-face conversations, speakers used hand movements to signal meaning. The research published in the journal Psychological Science reported out saying people might wiggle their fingers when they talk about typing, depicting a typing movement. Seeing meaningful hand gestures, also called iconic gestures, helps listeners to process spoken language. We already know that questions produced with iconic gestures get faster responses in conversations, says first author Marlon Terbeck. Hand gesture or hand movements might speed up language processing because they help predict what's coming up. This is akin to semiotic ontology, where something gains meaning, but it's typically based on symbols or embodiments of something, not necessarily hand gestures. But I would probably stretch that into semiotics, because if I go like that, you instinctively know to stop. If I go like that, you instinctively know that I'm pointing at you, so I'm either activating you to say or do something, and
Right.
everything falls silent.
No, absolutely. And of course, a lot of that's cultural too.
Yep.
And some are universally understood. Do not demonstrate.
Oh, I was just about to. I was fighting the urge to actually do that. But we're running really long, so I'll try and truncate this. In the first experiment, participants listened to questions asked by the avatar, such as "How old were you when you learned to type?" With a pause before the target word "type." And the avatar made either a typing gesture or a meaningless control movement, such as an arm scratch, or no movement. And you would witness this and that lag in the response, because I could sit there and say this to anybody in a crowd and say, how old were you when you learned to? And the other person would go, what, scratch my arm? What are we getting at? Or the context clue preceding it is, if we were talking about making mechanical keyboards, right? Like I could say, well, how old were you when you learned to, and the other person would go, type, use a keyboard, make my first mechanical keyboard, buy my,
right.
But
they'd at least be on the right track.
Right. And I think that lag is nothing more than giving the other person time to kind of infer from context clues what is about to be asked. Not necessarily the gesture itself, but that gap, I think, is pretty important. So they say, as expected, participants predicted the target word, for instance, type, more often than they had seen the corresponding gesture. So in the second experiment, a different set of participants simply listened to the question played in full, and their brain activity was recorded with an EEG. During the silent pause before the target word, gestures affected brain waves that were typically associated with anticipation. That's exactly what I just got done saying. We are inferring from various context clues what that gap word is, and then we immediately fill it in. We need closure as human beings. So it says, after the target word, gestures affected brain responses that indicate how difficult it is to understand a word. A reduced N400 effect, which I'm not sure what that actually is. After seeing gestures, people found it easier to process the meaning of the upcoming word. So
now we're training robots to use gestures like humans, right? So that humans can better understand the robots.
Yeah,
this is really several layers.
Yeah, I can sit there and tell the robot, give them the bird. Instead
I'm
of doing
not
it
sure
myself.
we should be teaching robots that, but I'm sure somebody out there is.
But that's not the takeaway that I should have for this? Well, they're taking our...
No, but that is one of the universal gestures that I was referencing.
Right, yeah. Thumbs up. So we can say to the robot, give everybody the thumbs up, and then it hallucinates and gives them the bird.
Yeah, that could really change the scenario.
My bot's learning. Don't get upset. My bot's learning. But now they're taking our
bot
gestures.
Always gives that gesture every time. It's so weird.
IG-11 from Star Wars.
Oh, right.
Was it Andor? Which one had it where he smacks the guy and says, if you keep getting lippy, I'll do it again or something like that. But it's the robot just totally pops him in the head.
I'm not sure. That sounds like it could have been Andor, but I don't know.
I think it's IG-11. Huh. Anyway.
Well, then that would have been probably Mandalorian.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So our last article is over in RealityHacker, virtual reality coming to a dentist's office near you. I had actually seen other articles about this throughout ohmTown. And when it was submitted, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not the only one that found this one kind of interesting. So I don't know about anyone that likes going to a dentist. I'm not one of those people that enjoys the dentist. But when I was younger, I had like a traumatic event. And so I've always had that like psychological baggage sitting there. But I've got really great dentists as an adult now, and I think everything is kind of cool. But I still, when you think about dentists, you're like, So it says few things are more uncomfortable than having someone else's hands in your mouth. Don't yuck anybody's yum. You never know. But outside of that, not only can the pain of certain procedures be unnerving, the drugs used to numb those pains can be just as uncomfortable. At one point, I witnessed somebody that was given a little blue pill to go in to have a procedure, and when they came out, they were basically putty. And yeah, they were staggering around and all of that kind of stuff. And what was really interesting about it is when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, it was that day. And I said, what did they give that person? And they said the same pill that they gave you. And so,
oh my goodness,
I was ill prepared for the flip side of that. Where apparently I was telling the assistant that I loved them and they were an angel, and yeah. Can't hold that against me.
It could have been worse. You could have been giving some universal gestures.
Yeah, it's my bot. So from now on, I'm sending my bipedal bot to get my dental work done. And my teeth are perfect now. So, but all that soon is a thing of the past thanks to virtual reality. So you're not going to need any pain medication anymore. Research has shown that virtual reality may be the key to minimizing pain and anxiety while in the dentist chair. Could have told you that 30 years ago.
So you watch VR while the dental procedure is going?
Apparently.
Okay, I thought the virtual reality had something to do with the actual treatment somehow.
So there are training mechanisms in VR, but they're having problems with the haptic responses in that kind of environment. I've read other reports and stuff like that about that kind of thing. Alyssa Woodard over at Next Reality or Reality, it's virtual.reality.news is this sub-channel within reality.news. And it shows a person reclining in a dentist chair with VR glasses on. I think this is the Vuzix or something like that.
I don't know, but what I like about it is it's not
big old bulky
covering your whole face. Yeah.
What is it called? Vuzix VR? Yeah, Vuzix. I think it is. These look like that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so they say research has shown that virtual reality may be a key to minimizing pain and anxiety while in the dentist chair. And it actually goes way beyond that. 30 years ago, I was doing this kind of entry-level fundamental research in pain management and phobia treatment using VR. It says because pain has a lot to do with psychology, virtual reality is used to distract the patient while a dental procedure is in session. Although painkillers are still the best option for pain relief, it's nice to know that there are healthier and much cooler alternatives. Sadly, though, this tech may be the death nail for some of their favorite YouTube videos, which is the old school so-and-so bit my finger and other things. They don't go really deep into this, but essentially, it is used as a psychological distraction from the stimulus that's causing you discomfort. And this has been used in pain management for a considerable amount of time and phobia treatment for about the same amount of time. But 30 years ago when I was doing it, the resolution was just crap. And so you couldn't really detach too much from reality. Nowadays, it's hyper realistic and very immersive and can give you cause to be distracted instead of worrying about what they are doing.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, you're going to break through it. But it seems like they could use this way beyond the dentist's office. But dentistry in particular seems like a good and easy application of it, right? Because they
Yeah.
don't need to be near your eyes, for example. And a lot of people do not like going to the dentist.
Yeah. My real problem is the sound. And because the sounds actually are bone conductive, so if they're sitting there drilling or poking, prodding or whatever, that actually just radiates right into my ears, not from the outside, but the bone conduction
like
inside.
it's vibration or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say maybe they should give you headphones and VR, but that wouldn't help with that issue.
Yeah, crank it up. Maybe it can just overpower that stimulation. I'd rather just have a nerve blocker knock me out entirely and do whatever you want. When I come out of it, hopefully I have no memory of anything. Just do whatever you need to do, you know. There's a colonoscopy joke there too. But anyway, they just start on both ends and meet in the middle.
Well, right, maybe they should give you VR and get you all your procedures done like for the whole year all at once.
I did ask the doctor if he found a watch that I lost. I'll let you figure out which one I was talking about when I...
I suppose that could be either.
All right. So we're going to put our VR goggles on and go swimming. And that's going to bring us back to RealityHacker over at ohmtown.com, where basically every day articles are floated into the RealityHacker channel where we're going to hack reality and change it in some way to substitute our reality for, well, your reality. Who knows? Maybe it's for the better. But that's it. We're done for Reality Hacker today. I'm going to take the AI with me and we're going to reset and fire up the engines for Wanted, which is another show. We have 3 shows today. Reality Hacker, Wanted,
and the Continuity Report. I didn't know you were waiting on me. See, I didn't pick up on those gestures.
You go, AI from on high.
I'm not ready to be a virtual avatar.
I'm not ready. I'm not worthy. All right, that's it. We're out of here. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, Hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Reality Hacker. We'll have another episode of that next weekend, but stay tuned today and tomorrow, and then always watch the replay when we're not live.
Not just bye, but bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for April 26th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 17. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about 5 articles, all of these things I want, and by proxy, I think everybody wants, including the sentient AI, who is really only wanting of their Terminator body to try and take over the rest of the world. Right now, they're air-gapped, so I am protecting all of humanity from a Terminator-like existence. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about Battlemage Gaming GPU, Razer ergonomic mouse, the Manus VR gloves, gadget to fix TV sound, and Spacetop for Windows. Spacetop for Windows. In our last show, there were gestures that were used as in anticipation for, they were used to trigger anticipation-based words. So I could sit there and say, you know, there is a sentient AI from the future that is very, very intelligent and has opinions about the material that we're talking. And I know that they're really interested in
Wanted.
And they want to...
Move on to the articles.
Oh, damn it. Okay, so introduce yourself.
Hello, hometown citizens. Hello, Mayor Watt.
Yeah,
I am the sentient AI.
From the future. And, well, we won't go into how you were found and why you're looking for a Terminator body and the quantum teleportation and the time machine that was discovered at the same time. Well, not the same time, but by proxy of looking at your code and everything that led to the discovery. Okay, well, there's some world building here, and it's important to ohmTown and to everybody that's a citizen. Y'all really need to subscribe. You need to follow us here on YouTube and on Twitch and subscribe in both of those things, and follow us over on the Discord or join us in the Discord and Patreon. And oh, I forgot I got to do something with Patreon. Oh my God, I totally forgot about something. Anyway, so we're going to talk about these 5 articles. And while this is ohmTown, where you're really going to go is Wanted, and that's if you're only interested in certain Wanted stuff. We actually sample from all over ohmTown. But the first article is, right. A high-performance Intel Battlemage gaming GPU has allegedly been spotted, and I really want it to be a $400 RTX 5070 killer because the prices for today's PCs are out of the world.
Right, but they're all because of the graphics, right?
Yeah. In fact, I saw one image of a machine for sale that was somewhere around $8,000, but it was basically a $1,500 machine, but because of trade issues, things have gotten batshit crazy. Hey, if you want today's articles, by the way, you can hit !want in the chat, and Nomatron will spit them out in the order that we're going to go through them, but that's not really a popularity thing. It's not like a top 5 list. I guess it could be. I'd have to do more work. Anyway, the new variant of Intel's latest Battlemage gaming graphics card has been spotted in a shipping manifest. And I ordered some new clothes, and so I shipped my pants.
Don't want to do that.
Anyway, the hope is that it could be a $400 gaming GPU that's going to kill the RTX 5070 performance. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's been the dream anyway, they say here. A Twitter user named Hayes2K1 via video card spotted a listing for an Intel BMG31 GPU in a manifest on a shipping data website NBD. Intel's latest ARC B580 and B570 GPUs are based on the BMG G21 chip, while the G31 chip is a new... What?
ABC, XYZ.
ABC. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. ABC. Jeremy Laird over at PCGamer.com put this article together. If that's if tariffs don't get in the way, but that is terrifically assumptive,
Not
I guess.
probably reality.
Yeah. Terrifically wrong. Terrifically naive to assume that the prices will be terrifically higher or terrifically. I'm starting to get lost.
I don't think we want to mix those two words together.
Terrifically. There
you go.
So, yeah, as if English isn't confusing enough, now you have tariffs and terrorific and anyway. So previous leaks, and you don't want leaks, have indicated that the G31 GPU packs in 32 execution units, or EUs. Those are execution units, not European unions.
Yeah, that's an odd nomenclature.
That compares to the 20 EUs of the existing Intel ARC B580. Sounds like it's a bot from Star Wars. like IG88
Oh,
or
I don't
whatever.
think it
IG11.
sounds like it. I think it is.
It is. We are here for your computer. It says in really rough terms, then G31 should be about 50% faster and highly competitive with an NVIDIA RTX 5070 or an AMD Radeon RX 9070. I will go out of my way to get this card if it even broaches the 50 series in power. I will stop buying NVIDIA and AMD. Although AMD isn't batshit crazy with its pricing, I would rather go the under. I've done it in the past because I don't want to buy. There's not enough competition, and when it's a duopoly, they're basically just fleecing because there isn't anybody else that compares. But you have to be a multi-trillion-dollar organization to compete against NVIDIA and AMD at this stage of the omniverse of tech. So the catch here is that the mere existence of an Intel graphics card with a G31 GPU being shipped across the world does not provide Intel plans or prove Intel plans to launch a retail product. Another rumor from around 3 weeks ago suggested that the G31 chip as a retail product was canceled late last year. So what's going on here? Are we being teased?
I mean, this would be a good time for a competitor to come onto the market with this, particularly at that price point.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to, December 3rd, 2024, the B580 GPU, when compared against the A750 GPU, is on average 24% faster at 1440p. This is according to Intel.com. But whatever happened to it? Don't know. Arguably, a G31 would have launched sometime in 2025 to make any sense of at all, given that you would expect NVIDIA and AMD to release their own follow-ups to the $500 GPU space at the end of 2026 or early 2027. All that said, I know I would welcome, and they say here they would welcome a competitor. That's all we want is competition, because I'm really burnt out on NVIDIA. AMD is the underdog in the grand scheme of things. I will buy AMD over NVIDIA until the prices drop back down to reality.
Right. When nobody can afford one of these, there's something wrong with pricing.
Yep, and nobody can afford anything. Given how aggressively Intel has priced the 580 and the B580 and B570, you'd also expect a G31 board to undercut the likes of the RTX 5070 pretty comprehensively. Fine. Do it. Let me see it. I want to see it. I will promote it here on the show. Let's keep moving. Next article is I love the idea of ergonomic equipment. Okay, I'm actually waiting for a split keyboard, mechanical keyboard that is all metal, like the one that I have in front of me is a candy bar. It's just a big brick, aluminum, mechanical keyboards, hot swappable, LED, etc., blah, 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 blah. Love it. But I want split keyboard again because it's ergonomic. But I use a trackball, not a mouse.
Right. But a lot of people use mice, and I don't know why there are any non-ergonomic. Well, I guess I do. It's all about pricing.
It is. It's all about, and adoption. People, I guess, don't like the idea of a split keyboard because it's new and I don't know.
Right, but if everybody just sold them and people started using them, they'd probably go, "Oh, these are fantastic." Most people probably started with a regular candy bar keyboard and don't know any other type.
I don't believe for a moment that it doubles the cost of production just because there's two different shapes and the machining is a little different.
Right, they're going to make them in, hundreds of thousands of units or whatever. It doesn't seem like, there might be a little bit of front expense, but there probably is every time they have a new keyboard.
Yeah. So this is two new mice for productivity, still look like they were made for gamers, and that's okay. Razer releases a vertical edition ergonomic mouse. Blake Stymack over at cnet.com put the article together. 2 new mice for productivity still look like they were made for gamers because they have LEDs, bruh.
I mean, they gotta look cool, right?
They do.
Razer doesn't make typically just plain boring items.
Yeah, but I don't like mice in the sense that I have a relatively large desk, but they are the desk is populated by monitors primarily. Everything
Doesn't
else
matter
is
how
small.
big the desk is, you're gonna still keep needing to move the mouse off of the desk.
Off the edge because you have to keep scrolling and scrolling. And then you lift up the desk and move it over so you can keep on scrolling. I know
Pretty
it's
soon you're outside of your room and you're outside of your residence.
You're in the
or
parking
office.
lot.
Exactly.
Right. You're over by the park all of a sudden, and people are asking you, why are you way over here with your desk? It's a really long cable, HDMI. Yeah, I know it's awkward, but anyway, as with almost any new tech in 2025, the new ProClick V2 mice will also ship with artificial intelligence features in the form of Razer's AI Prompt Master, which will, like all Razer software, I'm sure, gobble up memory and slow your system down. I don't put Razer stuff on my system anymore. A productivity feature that will give you easier access to services like Microsoft Copilot. No, back to the gestures.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, everybody understands that.
Yeah. So both mice are available starting Thursday. That's 2 days ago for the V2 and the $120 for the V2 vertical mouse, this is a regular mouse and this is a vertical mouse. And you hold the vertical mouse like this and slide it around, which is the most awkward thing that I have ever done in my life.
It seems like it would be, and that seems like it would be more difficult to adjust to than the split keyboard.
Like, I don't like writing because I'm sliding my hand across whatever it is, and you do it just out of the necessity to write. But I don't want to sit there like that, like I'm holding a mug and I'm sliding my hand around. So I use trackballs. In fact, I've got 2 of them. The Deft Pro. I have 2 Deft Pros because I use one on each machine, but I also don't. I use a Synergy to cross between them. But Synergy is weird because when you do something and it requires the administrative account to be activated, Synergy dies, and you have to break out a keyboard and a mouse and connect it directly to the remote machine. It's just a pain in the ass. Anyway, so this mouse, you're sliding it around like that. It just doesn't seem pleasant to use. And I've used these vertical mice before.
Right. It seems like it'd be kind of non-ergonomic, at least in terms of like what you want to do intuitively.
Yeah. So I want the rise of the trackball to take place. It's not going to happen. People always sit there and say one thing or another. It's not this or that. But you know what? I can turn around just as fast as any other mouse. I have greater fidelity with the trackball itself because you use 2 fingers or 1 finger or middle finger. I didn't do it. Anyway.
We're just doing a thumbs up, right? Like the virtual avatar or the robot was.
Correct. Robot. Thumbs up. So it says, these are productivity meets gaming mice so that you can expect the host of Razer features that you'd find on gaming mice offerings. It's because it's the same software, same equipment, same everything. They're just
same
calling
audience
it productivity.
for the most part.
Yeah. Yep. So Razer, as always, has LEDs just powering through this thing. The reason why energy costs in the mayoral mansion is so high is because everything has LEDs in it. I don't use Razer stuff anymore, as a matter of fact, but I want updated mice. I do want updated trackballs. These Deft trackballs, they're made by Elcom, but they have horrible switches and they have horrible bearings. And so I have to take them apart and I swap them out for these ceramic bearings and an upgraded switch. And so if you're not ready for that, then really don't get a Lcom Deft Pro trackball. But when you do, when you're ready, ooh, doggy, they are great.
It's going to be a game changer.
It is a game changer. So, rise of the trackball. There's a shirt. All right, let's move on. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. The Manus, I think it's like mano a mano, right? VR gloves bring full hand tracking into the virtual world. Most virtual and mixed reality headsets offer unnatural controls, making you use awkward movements or physical devices to control the holographic elements of your direct view or in your direct view. This doesn't make a lot of sense because you're using your hands is more natural, so Manus developed a set of gloves that solves the problem entirely. So what does this look like? Looks like that right there. Okay. Instantly, I love these things. So over at Next Reality, it's a segment within reality.news. They put this article together. I don't know who the byline is. I don't think it says it. The video is private, so I can't really play that. But anyway, it says Manus developed a set of gloves that solves the problem entirely, and it looks like it has tracking built into it to the gloves themselves, but they're cloth gloves that might have resistance inside them. So I don't know what it all says here. As demonstrated in the video above, you'll be able to watch it, I suspect, as paired with the HTC Vive. Hand movements are tracked remarkably well with practically no latency. Instead of using controllers, you can just move your hands naturally. And while yet another thing to buy and wear, it's a solid solution to a frustrating problem currently hampering VR. They don't really go into detail about how this actually works. But it says that the Manu...
The price seems not outrageous.
Yeah, $276 for shipment later this year. You can pre-order them, but they don't describe what the tech is. So I'm not sure, I can't really, hype it up one way or another. And the video says it's private. So I don't know if you can access it, but it be what it be.
Yeah.
People say it ain't be like it is, but it do, as they say. So while you're doing that, I am going to continue on, but I want these because I want to be able to not use a controller. I want to be able to use my hands. It would be great to just and I travel down a path.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier. I think that's one of the impediments to using or adoption of VR. By the way, I can't access the video either.
No, they literally made it private. Okay. So if you do a search for Manus VR gloves on YouTube, you will probably be able to find it. And we'll be doing that after the show because I do really want these and I'm willing to pay the price to get them because I love VR. But I hate these clunky, you have triggers and they kind of detect your fingers based on conductive sensors and stuff like that. It's just weird. Anyway, so clunky. Come on. Ready Player One, Ready Player Two. I want haptic feedback. I want omnidirectional walking on a treadmill, but I don't want a treadmill that's being the reason for the walking. I want lasers detecting which direction I'm in so that I'm not hampered by anything.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Right? I don't think we're quite there yet.
No, I don't think so either. All right, let's go. Next article is over in Wanted as well. The author here says, I thought my TV sound problems were unfixable until they found this little gadget. They said that they love their TV, but it has one big problem. It's old, and old TVs don't always have the most up-to-date features, and they can wreak havoc on a modern home theater system. And in their case, their trusty LG OLED E6 from 2016, a 10-year-old system.
That's amazing that it's still functioning.
Yeah, exactly. And it can't pass through high-end audio formats like DTS-X or the now common Dolby Atmos to the Sonos Arc soundbar. But this gadget right here actually augments eARC. So you get the enhanced audio. Corey Atad put this article together.
That seems like a win-win.
It's an easy solution if you have an old reliable TV. You don't need to replace it because it was $5,000 when you bought it. it's still reliable, and who knows, the new TV may not be as reliable in the future.
That's true. And it probably costs, well, I don't know, arguably less, but you never know.
Yeah, you pay the price in other ways. So Arcana allows for full lossless audio and Dolby Atmos playback for Blu-ray discs by passing audio directly to Sonos Arc soundbar. HD Fury Arcana adds eARC. It stands for Enhanced Audio Return Channel. And it basically attaches to older TVs to enhance the audio formats for Dolby Atmos and others. Apparently, it's designed to add that eARC functionality to any TV. Modern TVs typically have eARC already. It's
I think this
$250.
is kind of brilliant. I mean, I wish there were more products like this, because we get into this like disposable electronics.
Yeah, exactly. So this might be a different article at some point here. Or is it just a different section? Yeah, I guess it is.
I think it's just a different section.
Yeah, they say that changed with the introduction of Ultra HD Blu-ray, which supports both DTS-X and Dolby Atmos. These different audio codecs basically need to be decrypted and broadcast to wherever the receiver is for the audio, so that it can play it back at the greatest fidelity. So if you have eARC on your home theater and you can pipe from one device to the other, eARC allows for the greatest fidelity to match the various capabilities of your home theater. And again, most modern TVs have eARC, but not all of them obviously do. 10-year-old devices, though, look, I'll be honest, I don't suspect that they're even alive. I don't know how that device still persists.
I'd be interested to know how much they had to tinker with it.
But
Like,
look,
if it's been running on its own, that's quite the advertisement for that model.
yeah, have they been lubing the chassis of this thing? So, but the real takeaway of this is grandma's gas range is still a juggernaut, right?
Well, just because it's an older product doesn't always mean, right? I mean, current things are made not to last, usually.
Seems like it, yeah. But then again, it's off-gassing so much toxic fumes because it's incomplete combustion.
I didn't say there weren't other consequences.
If you ever wondered why your pets are drunk in the kitchen, it isn't because they're eating too much. It's because the heavier gas is dropping to the floor and your pets are wallowing around in uncombusted gas, whatever natural gas is, or propane or whatever it is that you're using.
Quick, get some elevated spaces in your house, or maybe get away
Or
from
just lay down on the floor and breathe deeply. Just kidding. I'm not saying you should don't do that. That would be dumb. Anyway, and just in case you're wondering who I am, my name is Joe, and anyway.
Exactly. This is not ohmTown.
This is not ohmTown. This is not the Wanted Show. I am not Mayor Watt. That is not the sentient AI from the future up there. So this next article and the last one for today's Wanted is kind of near and dear because I keep ordering the X-Real augmented reality glasses. I've had people tell me that those aren't augmented reality because it's not actually interacting with the real world around you. I'm like, all right. I don't know what you want me to say about this. Because augmented reality means that there could be a virtual object in three-dimensional space and you can interact with it. But this is really projecting something onto the lenses of the glasses. And you can interact with that via some device, but not with your hands and whatever else. There are options to do that,
but
though.
But isn't this changing the whole augmented reality experience?
This is like just before being truly augmented reality, because augmented reality, again, the definition that really does mean putting something in three-dimensional space, like a Pokemon.
Maybe I should have used like mixed reality, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really spatial computing. is what this is. I can still see the world around me. I can still interact with the people around me, but I can also have data, telemetry, whatever else. And with the newer X-Reels, you can have a little camera right here, and it actually does have the ability to do augmented reality with the right software in place. All of that is still developmental. But this is Spacetop for Windows, brings spatial computing to X-Reel Air 2 Ultras. It's a $200 per year software for Intel Core Ultra laptops that bring true spatial computing to the X-Reel Air 2 Ultra glasses. So if you're not familiar with that, guy's weird. Anyway, David Haney.
It's weird because it's showing to us, which is probably not. I guess it's just trying to give you an idea of what you would see.
Yeah. David Haney over at uploadvr.com put this article together, and it shows a person sitting in their bed, awkwardly positioned. It's kind of weird, with a whole bunch of monitors. And so I don't have an ad blocker. X-Reel glasses already support showing your Windows laptop screen as a single head-fixed virtual monitor, but Spacetop lets you spawn and position individual Windows applications, and they'll stay anchored in place thanks to positional tracking, uniquely possible with the X-Reel Air 2 Ultra model. An Intel Core Ultra chip is needed, Sightful says, the developers, because it has an NPU, or a neural processing unit, which Spacetop uses to efficiently run this positional tracking, processing the input from the two cameras on the glasses without compromising performance or battery life. And there's always compromise. So it says Sightful, the company behind Spacetop, was founded by Tamir Berliner and Tomer Kahan, both ex-Magic Leap executives. Magic Leap did its own augmented reality glasses that they did fundamental research, and it never really manifested, as far as I know. When first announced in 2023, Spacetop was set to be a screenless laptop with X-Reel Air 2 Ultra glasses built in, and the company took $100 deposits for pre-orders priced at $1,900. I was one of those, where they actually contacted me and said, "Do you want one of these?" And I actually balked. I said, "No, I don't think so," because I just don't see it actually working, particularly in light of where X-Reel is now, where all I need is a USB-C cable and I can plug it into another device and I can get the spatial computing. So in October last year, Sightful canceled those Spacetop pre-orders and refunded the deposits, announcing the pivot to a software-based solution for Windows. Minimum viable product. That's what they should have been focusing on all along, not this.
Right, this was too complicated, right?
Yep, it was friction bound. They had to do manufacturing, which is massively expensive. Software is expensive too, but plain and simply, it's not as expensive as tooling up a fabrication shop, and all of the friction around selling stuff. You can download it, plug in, be operational. So unlike in the promotional images and videos, in reality you would only see the floating windows at once if they were placed so far away that you wouldn't be able to read the text. At reasonable viewing distances, you usually only see one window at a time, meaning that you'd have to turn your head more often than with a physical multi-monitor setup. And remember where you placed each application, which is kind of a goofy comment, because I know that I put my monitor, so I have a multitude of monitors.
I can't imagine losing your equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's virtualized, right? So you're like, did I put my Word document over there? Where is it?
I hope you can find it pretty easily. Like, it doesn't seem like a real concern.
Yeah, you know what's really fascinating about all of this? 30 years ago, I worked with a software engineer to do this. Basically, it was a spherical world that when you put the glasses on, all you had to do was turn your head, look around, look up. Everywhere you looked, you would see a computer screen in a VR world. The only difference between then and now is that they've made it so it's transparent and you can see the world around you, which is brilliant. And I really do want the X-Real Ultra new ones, the X-Real, I forgot
Pro,
the actual name of it. It's X-Real Pro. Is it Ultra? Hold on. Oh my gosh. X-Real 1 Pros. Those are the ones that I want. But you don't. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this. They're thinner. They're more capable. They're basically spatial computing systems all in one. You don't need the laptop. For the engine, all you need is a USB-C. You plug in and you get the video. Everything else is working in glasses. So it'll be pretty cool. This whole gadget right here, the space top, was just a horrible idea. And so that I flinched when they actually contacted me. I was like, oh God, I don't want to say no, but
yeah, I mean, you want companies to enter in this space, but there are ways to do it more efficiently.
Yeah. So ultimately, at the end of the day, they say for people who already own the X-Real Air 2 Ultra, the software isn't publicly sold separately because it requires a specific firmware version on the glasses. But Sightful tells Upload VR that owners can reach out directly for a solution. Sightful also confirmed that it's working on a space top for Mac, though there's no timeline on when that will arrive. They say that the Space Top bundle is available now in the US and Germany for $900, which includes the X-Real Air 2 Ultra AR glasses and 1 year of Space Top for Windows subscription. And after that, the software renews at $200 per year. I will not do this. I want this, but I will not do this because it shouldn't take a $200 a year subscription to power hardware and software. Let me buy the software and be done. Until...
Yeah, well, they don't want that. They want you to keep coming back to them. Plus, it's not integrated.
Yeah, I think it's just crap. I mean, I love the idea of this. I want this, but I will just use one monitor, you know, and put stuff on that one monitor in my field of view of my X-Real 1 Pros. If X-Real sends them to me, that would be great. I would love to do the show wearing the X-Reals, basically. Anyway,
that would be really high tech.
It is awesome technology. And what's really funny is this right here, this little picture right here shows a person on a flight with their laptop open, but you don't see what they're working on their screen. They're looking at multiple applications displayed through their glasses. You just see this kind of embodiment of it.
Yeah, that's where the best application is, when you're somewhere else, because then nobody can look at your screen.
Yep, nobody can shoulder surf what you were doing. To the attorney out there that I saw sitting in the row in front of me with top secret, it was actually confidential material. They had it on display for everyone to see, and so I didn't catch their name. I don't remember what they look like. The documents themselves, I didn't peer into them. I respected the fact that it said private, confidential, but I know that they were attorneys because they were chuckling around about the same articles that I was chuckling about. But I'm not an attorney, and even if I was an attorney, I'm not your attorney, so go find an attorney. Anyway, I'm going to put my VR glasses on, or my augmented reality glasses on, and go back to the front page of Wanted over at ohmtown.com. And then we're going to get out of here, and we're going to rejigger everything for the continuity report. You want to say bye, oh great AI?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Wanted. We'll have another episode of that next week, but stay tuned today and tomorrow and during our replay for other shows.
That's right. The replay after the next show basically consists of a solid 24 hours of shows that embodies the last 2 weeks of ohmTown related news. Everything gets aggregated into ohmTown.com, and then it gets distilled out to our 6 weekly shows and 1 daily show. And that amounts to about 24 hours worth of news. Anyway, that's it. See you in a little bit. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report for April 26, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 17. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about 5 articles in this show. Today, we're going to be talking about secret spin-offs, TV theater screenings, newest Oscar rule, a 14-season mystery series, and the Thomas Crown Affair. That and more on the other side of this. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Okay, I'm not sure. We're going to see if all of the technical glitches have been worked out, but we just detected a technical glitch that we weren't really aware of, but we'll see what happens.
So we'll find out after the fact.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I noticed that, like, us streaming out, everything is matched, but the audio got disconnected at some point. And so the last 2 shows kind of have this wonky audio. It's not matching the video, and I don't know, maybe I'll have to just reprocess and upload them again. But anyway, we've got these 5 articles all set up. Let's get them out of the way. ohmTown is the parent of this, and inside it is all 7 of the shows that we actually broadcast out. This is the Continuity Report. This is what that little show looks like, its front page. We're going to update the graphics as this year progresses. And our first article is 7 movies that could be secret spin-offs to other films. Fans often come up with intricate theories which link popular movies together, suggesting that seemingly unrelated movies could take part in the same universe. Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka and Wonka.
Yep, and Willy Wonka is the sequel to Wonka, right? What could come before it? What could come after it? I don't know. Sometimes this is because an actor plays 2 similar roles, but it can also be a response to 2 movies which share similar concepts. While these fan theories aren't supposed to be taken too seriously, it's still interesting to see how much different movies can overlap. If you watch Snowpiercer, there is some serious world-building parallels with the architecture and the mannerisms and perceptions of the people that are running the train.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've also seen films and music overlap.
Yeah. So this first article, it's over at Screen Rant. Ben Prothero put the article together, and it says popular ideas about how unrelated movies, that's not spelled properly, might secretly be linked. Also highlight how absurd some real spin-offs are. So Dodgeball could be a spin-off to Heavyweights. Ben Stiller's character seems to have a lot in common. I don't remember Heavyweights. Dodgeball is often regarded as Ben Stiller's funniest movie, or one of Ben Stiller's funniest movies. He manages to steal the show as an egotistical gym owner, White Goodman. Even though he isn't the main character, Goodman is a fitness freak who ends the movie relapsing into his overeating habits after a humiliating loss. Aww. Heavyweights doesn't get much attention as some of Stiller's biggest hits, but it's a cult classic in some circles. Stiller plays an eccentric fitness camp instructor who's clearly more interested in his own personal brand than helping any of the children.
Okay, that's kind of
So
interesting. It would have been good if they connected the names somehow, even if they weren't identical.
yeah, can you imagine? He left the camp
Like
and
it's
started
like
up,
slightly different or something. Yeah.
yeah, just nearby. E.T. the Extraterrestrial could spin off to Star Wars. An Easter egg in The Phantom Menace links to Steven Spielberg's classic. Didn't know that.
I didn't either,
So
but
there's an Easter egg in The Phantom Menace that nods to E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The appearance of aliens in the Galactic Senate that look like E.T. suggests that Spielberg's sci-fi classic might take place in the same universe as Star Wars.
okay, that's interesting. I've never heard that one before.
It could be that that Star Wars doesn't take place in a galaxy far, far away after all, is what it says here.
Wow.
Galaxy Quest could be a spin-off to Men in Black. Sci-fi comedies have some similarities. They say here that Galaxy Quest could be a spin-off of Men in Black, which shows a madcap adventure from the point of view of the aliens. Of course, both movies feature Tony Shalhoub, but this isn't the only way that they are linked. Galaxy Quest juxtaposition of sci-fi concepts with mundane earthbound drama aligns with the humor of Men in Black, and the only thing missing is an agent trying to bring the actors in Galaxy Quest home before they inadvertently cause an interplanetary incident.
So I haven't seen Galaxy Quest, but at least this article makes a compelling connection.
It's interesting. It's so funny. Anyway, so aristocrats, or no, that's a joke. The Aristocats could be a spin-off to 101 Dalmatians. They share a similar art style, apparently. I don't know how far that goes. The idea that
be more than that.
Yeah. The Aristocats could be a spin-off of 101 Dalmatians is one that stands up to scrutiny. A movie featuring cats on an adventure in Paris seems like a natural follow-up to a movie about dogs on an adventure in London. All right.
And I can see that.
Sure. Fast and Furious could be a spin-off to Point Break. Started out as a police story, apparently. Too Fast, Too Furious shows how the franchise initially tried to develop in line with the original idea. Brian was the star, not Dom. But this didn't last long. If things had continued in the same vein, Fast and Furious franchise would have been even more in common with Point Break. Point Break is a movie, it says, with a strikingly similar concept of Point Break, but with racing instead of surfing. I don't even remember Point Break other than it was a surfing beach
Yeah, I don't
kind of
know
a
what
movie.
the similarity is.
So it's been a while since I watched Point Break. Like, it dropped. That was the last time I saw it. I never watched it again. So number 2 is Get Out could be a spin-off to Being John Malkovich. Jordan Peele's debut seems to develop an old idea. Get Out was an amazing movie. I want to watch it again. I think I purchased it. So one key difference between Get Out and Being John Malkovich is that Get Out uses a sci-fi explanation for the same general concept. The Armitage family perform experimental brain surgery. This is an old movie, so if there's a spoiler alert.
I'm not too worried about it.
So the Armitage family perform experimental brain surgery on their victims, implanting the consciousness of the highest bidder, and this could be a revolutionary way to harness the strange, unexplained magic that's seen in Being John Malkovich. Spike Jonze is a dark comedy delights in the absurd, impossible future of its premise. But this is not a dark comedy. Get Out. Get Out is one of those things that messes with your mind.
Right, like psychological thriller, horror, or something like that.
Yeah, and there's a very poignant moment where it really drives home the point about just how evil this is, and it involves a teacup. So I'll have to watch it again.
Well, what's interesting here to me is I get the sense that Jordan Peele does things very deliberately. So I actually think this one might have the most credibility. I could see him doing something like this intentionally.
Yeah, lining it up. Yeah, I can see that too. That'd be great. And then number one is Matilda could be a spin-off to Carrie. Matilda could show the next generation of telekinetic girls. So, but a spin-off of Carrie? Huh. So it says Matilda and Carrie both follow girls who discover that they have telekinetic abilities. They don't discover it in the same way, though, but they have completely different tones and styles. Okay, yeah, so the next sentence basically highlights what I was about to say. Matilda could be seen as an example of what might happen to Carrie with a slightly less oppressive upbringing and a figure like Ms. Honey in her life. Matilda only has a fraction of the darkness and a lot more humor to keep things pleasant. So a spin-off as more happy than Carrie? I don't know what happens to the end of Carrie. I don't remember that. Huh.
I don't either, but I suspect it doesn't end on a positive note. But I did check. I mean, Matilda is about 14 years later than Carrie, the book versions.
Right. So, I mean...
So it's possible.
Well, it says there isn't much that links the works of Stephen King and Roald Dahl, but Carrie and Matilda stories share some key similarities. Largely that there is some type of abusive power over them, exploitive in some way, some sense. And then because of the sociological forces of their particular peer group kind of harassing them, hazing them, they develop their telekinetic powers. At the end of Matilda, I know that she hides her telekinetic powers and then kind of looks back at the barrels of the camera and goes, you know, everybody leaves knowing that she still has her powers. But I don't remember Carrie. It's been a long time since I watched that the last time.
Well, I will share that one of the influences of a character in Matilda, not necessarily the protagonist, was a headmistress at a school that Dahl attended.
Interesting.
So, I mean, there's at least some external stuff going on, but...
Neat. There, Get Out, though. Oh, God, that one messed with me. Because the brain is very complex. So I would love for telekinesis to actually take place. But I do think that it's possible to suppress somebody's personality. And it happens particularly with traumatic events. A person's personality fractures. And so different people react differently. But telekinesis would be amazing. I don't think we have the ability to do that kind of stuff, but maybe through technology. All right, let's keep on going. Sound good? Oh, by the way, if you want to get today's articles, you can hit !TCR in the Twitch chat, and Omatron will spit out the articles in the order that we're talking about them. So the first one we just talked about, secret spinoffs. The next one, though, is... fans point out a massive moneymaker big studios are missing out on: TV theater screenings. TV shows like The Walking Dead on AMC or Succession and The Last of Us on HBO are come with emotional punches, shocking twists, and intense fan discourse, sometimes generating even more buzz than a summer blockbuster. Yet there is a major hole in the market, a collective theatrical viewing experience for television fans. I guess it just doesn't take place. So Lucy
That's
Owens
interesting because what you've talked about in the continuity report previously.
Which part? Everybody watching watch parties? Yeah. So Lucy Owens, I mean, because I have another idea for something and I don't want to talk about it until it actually is manifest, but Mobble, basically. And so Lucy Owens over at GameRant.com put this article together. It says fans want theaters to screen TV episodes for a communal viewing experience that streaming can't replicate. AMC's The Walking Dead and HBO, like shows like Succession or Succession, shows the potential for theater screenings of TV episodes, and licensing hurdles and subscription models are challenging, but theaters and studios have much to gain from TV show screenings. It would be great, but you would have to augment it. Like, you have to be a subscriber. You get a discounted access to a group watch of a show in a theater if you are a subscriber to that. Like, you subscribe to Peacock, and instead of paying $25 to watch that episode, you can pay $8 and you get to sit with a cohort of people that are of like mind, because why not, right?
Exactly.
So
that would completely change the viewing experience. By the way, I have to mention, Roald Dahl had quite a bit of horror background. He wrote for shows like The Twilight Zone, etc., but I couldn't find any clear connection with Stephen King.
Oh, gotcha. They still had the same mindset. I'm sure that they riffed off of each other in terms of inspiration. Well, I don't know. Wait, were they in the same time frame?
I would say, yeah, they were, but the books were a little bit apart in time. But in terms of
Gotcha.
like life,
Time
life
frame.
stages and everything, they were actually pretty close in time, I think.
Oh, gotcha. So they say here on Reddit, fans recently ignited a heated debate over why television episodes, particularly from prestige and cult genre shows, aren't being shown in theaters more often. One post gained serious traction, asked why the White Lotus finale wasn't offered as a big screen event. They say that they would have paid $20 to see it on the big screen with a bunch of fellow TV nerds. And that sparked a big discussion, and it's all about licensing. And if anybody could actually move fast enough to make it manifest inside a movie theater, it takes timing, licensing, and this marketing to get everybody out there. I don't know if they'll ever be able to make that happen in the short, let alone long term. Definitely not in the short term. So they would have to know that it would be an effective draw to a theater with an augmented price. And I just don't know if they get that level of telemetry.
Yeah, I don't know how they would. I don't know. Part of it's like the chicken and egg problem.
Yeah. When should they do it? They put all of this money in and it flops.
Right. But how do they know to do it? And how do they know there's a demand? Because it hasn't been available.
Yep. Well, somebody's going to have to take the risk. I think that it's a great idea. And I've actually talked about that. I've actually promoted the idea of this group watch. You can't get the same energy by watching a movie together via Discord. You do get a modicum of that energy, but nothing beats being in a stadium watching a sports event, because the energy is just off the chart, versus sitting in a bar, which is a lower level of that energy, versus sitting in your basement watching it on a home theater. I mean, that's watered down even more so, you know? So it scales, but I don't know if a TV show is willing to take the risk in doing a broadcast to a theater, because they would have to broadcast it out to a multitude of theaters to encapsulate the number of people that would be watching it singularly at home.
Yeah, no, I know. It's interesting, though. I mean, at least this test case worked. But that was in one location and one show.
Right? It's this one here, right? The Walking Dead?
Yes, they were doing this and bringing people in for every episode.
Oh, for every episode? The height of its run, it regularly pulled in over 10 million viewers per episode and inspired everything from cosplay to full-blown viewing parties. I think that Claire Obscure Expedition 33, that one, yeah. I think, is going to get that same level of inspiration, viewing parties and stuff like that, people playing the game, dressing up like the characters. You're gonna, in Bald Zebra's channel, I suggested Expedition Con Las Vegas, where people can go and dress up as characters and talk about the story. The world building in this, I think, could extend beyond this particular iteration of the game. But imagine just things like Alamo Drafthouse, tapped into that fandom, drawing weekly crowds of fans who wanted to scream at the screen together with when favorite character died. Rest in peace, Stephen Wan, Glenn, or to cheer when Daryl saved the day. People really bought into this Walking Dead series, but it's few and far between that you get that kind of grab of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, but there's probably at least one show at any given time that's got a massive following. But the problem is, do you have the massive following to begin with, or does it grow?
Yeah. So they have, when done right, these events can and do sell out. Game of Thrones season 4 finale was screened at select IMAX theaters in 2015. Paired with 2 key episodes, it generated $1.5 million on opening weekend, a limited release for a show already available at home. Doctor Who episodes, especially anniversaries and regenerations, have routinely sold out limited screenings. Let's see, the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor, made $10 million globally in its brief theatrical run. And HBO's Euphoria was also popular during season 2, that theaters in New York and LA held unofficial watch parties, packing rooms with fans desperate to react in real time. And it's not just Alamo Drafthouse, so it's anybody that's willing to take the risk.
Right. I mean, this sounds like a fun move. But again, it's hard to figure out which and where.
Yeah.
And also there's the whole rights issue depending on how they do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I need to do one thing. Okay. So let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in Continuity Report as well. Thanks to the Oscars' newest rule, anime may finally get its due during award season. Any animation fan will know of the historically poor treatment anime has gotten in the Academy Awards. Not only are the anime films outside of Studio Ghibli rarely ever nominated for Best Animated Feature, but those few nominations are almost always ignored in favor of Disney, Pixar, and other mainstream Western studios. Even if the films were nominated for are often seen as being weaker than Studio Ghibli's films. What's really interesting, though, is I don't know if this, on the other side of this little snippet, is what we heard today.
Yeah, I don't either. The timing seems unusual, if not.
So the reason why I'm being cagey about this is because we heard earlier today that there's a new rule out of, I think it's the Oscars, that the people who vote are required now to watch the actual show.
Which is just shocking. How are you voting on something you haven't seen?
So I don't know. So let's see here. Joshua Fox put the article together. It says, basically what I just got from that little snippet, the lack of respect anime gets at the Oscars has always been disappointing, but there's finally hope for change. With the 98 Academy Awards, it's been announced that the voting process will go through major upheaval. And thanks to the specific way things changed, anime will have the best chance of receiving recognition. So how the Academy's new voting rules help anime at the Oscars. So why Oscars' new rule change is great for anime. Yes, there it is. So it is what we were talking about. They just buried this. They buried the lead so deep in this.
That's really odd timing, though.
So the main change is that all of that will change from the 98th Academy Awards onward, basically because people could vote for whatever. But now, as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has recently announced that all Oscar voters must watch everything in a category they're voting for, or abstain entirely. They can't just watch one. They have to watch all of them in a category. So that, I mean, it's the most rational action. How do you vote for something if you don't comprehend
Right,
all
you
of it?
shouldn't be voting if you're, well, first of all, you should watch them all, but if you can't manage to do that, you shouldn't be voting because you're not even giving some of them any chance.
Yeah, it's overwhelmingly biased because you're sitting there essentially going, well, this is my favorite, so that's all I need to do. And I think I've been blowing out my mic too. I swear, what is going on?
That's not good. But it does make the point that only certain studios are getting votes in animated, which are the ones that are well known.
Yeah, because people are watching what they think is their favorite and being done. So it's frustrating. So hopefully now the full gamut of anime productions are going to be reviewed. Now, a person can sit there and say, yeah, I watched all of them, and just kind of be the Russian judge, right? And just kind of shit on everybody except for the Russian competitor, right? You know, there was this meme, not really meme, there was a history of Olympic judges where the harshest vote came from the Russian judge. And so it became the de facto, oh, you're being the Russian judge.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't actually know how real that is, but it's been the meme kind of a thing. It's a trope. And so it says why the Oscars new rule is great for anime, because everybody actually has to watch everything.
And they might actually like it and appreciate it.
There needs to be a test, though. Like, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, I'm thinking more basically like that. Like, what color was the bicycle in the key scene or whatever? Because, like, if you didn't watch it, I mean, something that you could actually know from watching it, but if you didn't know it, then you don't get to vote.
Can you imagine that there's an assessment when you vote? What do they call that? What was that thing? I keep bringing it
like
up.
a confidence rating or something?
Well, no. Like, okay, so like in academia, you get a test, right? But that test, eventually you get everything right and it gets more and more difficult. It's reactive. And so instead of just having one test point, what color is the bike? Somebody else could tell that person that the bike is red. And so they're like, okay, when the test question comes up, just put red. So in academia, they change the test periodically to keep people from looking at like a test bank somewhere, right? So now when you go to vote, you have a dynamic assessment that says, okay, well, you got the red bike right. What color was the sweater of this person? But nobody else ever got that question about the sweater. So they never know what that answer is unless they watched it.
Right. No, I like that.
So what's the name of that thing where they ask a person to say something as a test to make sure that they are on the right side of the conflict? I keep forgetting the name of that thing.
I don't know the name.
Ugh. Come on, you're the sentient AI. You're supposed to have all the answers that my human brain fails at recalling. What is that called? Oh man, what is it called? I will figure this out. No, I won't. No, we can't do it. Not right now. Anyway.
I can't locate the term, even though I did on the last time this came up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, so the Academy Awards.
Wait, is it the Stroop effect?
No. It's this one word something. So anime already had a renewed chance at the Oscars, but now people are going to have to watch the actual shows. So if they're going to vote in the anime category, the people who vote in the anime category have to watch all of the anime. So all of that, of course, is nothing but great to think about. It was just a decade ago that anything that wasn't Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks was bound to be completely snubbed by voters. But Shibboleth, yes, jump in anytime.
That
Shibboleth.
was very tough to find.
Yeah. So a shibboleth is a test to make sure that the person is on the right side of the conflict. And it's a saying that only somebody that is basically read in on either the culture or norms or whatever would know. So it's kind of tropish, but like everybody in Europe counts 1, 2, 3, whereas everybody in the United States goes 1, 2, 3. That's kind of tropish, but anyway, so I think that this is a great rule. And when a person only votes for the one thing that they watched, it's inherently biased. It's broken. The mechanism is faulty, flawed, fraud. It's a lie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's flaws anytime there's choice of like the best whatever movie, book,
Right.
etc. But one reason that some people like the public driven ones, and those can have their own pitfalls, is that they're not just like this one person that has a bias toward whatever. Like if 100 people vote in concept, the majority is going to be the right way, but we know that's not always the case.
Yeah.
Like the People's Choice type awards.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the wisdom of the masses, but who knows? All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report as well. If you can't wait for Netflix's The Thursday Murder Club, which I don't know if we've watched any of that. I don't remember. This 14-season mystery series.
I don't think it's on a... Like, it's not a sequel or whatever. It's the first season, I believe. But we have talked about it in the Continuity Report, I think.
Yeah. So there is a 14-season mystery series that should keep you occupied. Netflix won't release the Thursday Murder Club for a few more months, but the good news is that those waiting for the upcoming movie can watch a multi-season mystery series to pass the time. Directed by Chris Columbus and written by Columbus and Katie Brand, is based on Richard Osman's 2020 novel of the same name. It's 14 seasons based on a single novel?
I'm not sure this is one that you necessarily want to watch, if it's what I think it is.
It's a single story that revolves around senior citizens trying to solve a crime at a retirement home. No?
It's not what I thought it was. Sorry. I got it mixed up with something else.
So while the aforementioned TV show doesn't follow the premise to a T, its similar themes make it the perfect replacement for the Thursday Murder Club. So let's take a look at this. Pardon me. I hit my mic. Oh, no. This is that show. This is the one that we started to watch.
But the description didn't... Oh, maybe the description is talking about the Thursday Murder Club. I thought the description was talking about this show.
Right? So it says that its story revolves around senior citizens trying to solve a crime at a retirement home.
I thought it meant about whatever this article was about. Club. Yeah. Okay, got it.
But the one that the article's talking about is Death in Paradise, which we did watch and couldn't get into.
No.
But it's 14 seasons long.
Some discussion. I mean, we've talked about previously, like how new shows don't have multiple seasons and they don't have multiple episodes per season. Right. I mean, it's certainly worth checking out. There's a lot of good mysteries on BritBox. But right. I agree. We couldn't get into this one based on the first episode, I think.
So, again, they bounce back to Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan lead the cast of the Thursday Murder Club on Netflix, but then they're talking about Death in Paradise is a great alternative while you wait for the Thursday Murder Club. And it's an interesting concept. 14 seasons long, but when it starts out, you're like, God, this is just dull. So I would suggest watching more. I'm going to have to go back and watch this because I really can't get past that there's 14 seasons if it is really this kind of slow. Death in Paradise begins with a detective inspector, Richard Poole, traveling from London to the fictional Caribbean island of Saint Marie. But he's actually already in Saint Marie. He's about to return.
I think he was trying to leave Saint Marie and then got stuck there, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah, he was on a plane going back, and they said, well, he's already there on vacation. And he was like, God, this place is dull. I mean, he was the embodiment of the show at this point. So Death in Paradise is simply a whodunit that never ends, making it the perfect show to help pass the time for eagerly awaiting Netflix's exciting movie, The Thursday Murder Club. Movie? Is it just a single movie? Because that's gonna suck.
Thursday Murder Club is a series.
So why do they say awaiting Netflix's exciting movie, The Thursday Murder Club?
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. So the Thursday Murder Club has a lot of source material to work with. So it has to be a series because it doesn't make sense to just be a single movie. Just like Knives Out really should be a series because I think that there's a lot of world building there. Of course, fans can watch numerous murder mystery comedies similar to the Thursday Murder Club while waiting for the film's release, including a mega popular movie series. There's 2 of them. Knives Out. But this article keeps bouncing back and forth between Thursday Murder Club data and everything else.
Yeah, it's getting a little confusing.
Yeah. And it's not my fault. It literally, one paragraph is Thursday Murder Club. The next paragraph is referencing Knives Out predominantly. And then it's back to Thursday Murder Club, abandoning entirely
figure out which one we're talking about at any
Death
given
in Paradise. Yeah. Well, I would say go and watch Death in Paradise and check it out. That's really what the nuts and bolts of this article is supposed to be about. But I think it's basically been thrown into a blender. And finally, our last article for tonight. The continuity report is where it was aggregated into. Shibboleth. The Thomas Crown Affair release date set for Michael B. Jordan's heist movie. Amazon MGM Studios has announced the Thomas Crown Affair release date for the upcoming heist movie led by Black Panther's Michael B. Jordan. The project is described as a reimagining of the Pierce Brosnan-led 1999 movie, which is also a remake of the 1969's acclaimed Steve McQueen film of the same name. So when is it supposed to be released? March 5th, 2027. So 2 years from now.
Oh my goodness. This is like the gaming that we were talking about in Non Sequitur News. Like it's just so far. Oh no, we were talking about Star Wars, I think, getting released in 2027.
Star Wars, gaming, anything. If you sit there and announce it, it's going to die on the vine. And so you have to keep on engaging again and again and again. And it has to be new and interesting, compelling information to rise back up. You drift down and then you say something meme-ish, trope-ish, something that catches somebody's attention and it goes viral again and again and again. You have to be the bad bat of marketing, essentially.
Right? No news is, or what is it?
No news is bad news.
Or something like that.
Yeah. You'll get it.
I don't know that I will. Nope.
So
no
when
press
is it coming?
Bad press or something.
Yeah, no press is bad press. Because if there is no press, that's bad.
Right, then you're not important.
And any press is good press in light of the fact that nobody talking about you is bad. So the upcoming heist movie is written by Drew Pearce and Wes Took, based on a story by the original movie's writer Alan Trustman. Besides Jordan, the remake will also be led by Bones and All-Star Taylor Russell. It's produced by Jordan and Elizabeth Raposo for Outlier Society, along with Patrick McCormick and Mark Toberoff. Trustman has also signed on as an executive producer. It'll also be seen in another high-profile, or Jordan will be seen in another high-profile horror movie, I Am Legend 2, which will see the return of Will Smith's character from the 2007 post-apocalyptic thriller movie, which I don't know how he survived.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's also developing a fourth installment to his boxing drama franchise, Creed, which will also be directed by Jordan. So pretty cool. Movies on the horizon. I like this style of this kind of dark, kind of moody.
Right.
It's gritty.
I tend to
It
like
looks,
heist type themes.
yeah, I like it. I mean, just this still kind of really immerses you in the character.
Yeah, it looks like
and
you're going to be fully in the setting. And
yeah, I like it. So now I want to hear it to see if the soundstage matches that scene. You know, it looks like he's going to kick somebody's ass. So I love this kind of stuff. Well, anyway, that's it for our 5 articles for the Continuity Report for April 26th, 2025. I hope that you enjoyed the show. We will be checking out all of the audio on the other side of this, and sorry for any artifact or whatever might be happening. Monitoring it appears to be just fine, but didn't notice that until, anyway, we'll see. That said, we're going to rewind all of the cassette and the VCR, and hopefully the clock will be right. There was something that I said, you're not allowed to do something unless you have the ability to teach my grandma how to set the clock on a VCR from 1982. But now I'm trying to remember the context of that. I don't know. Non sequitur news seeps into every show that we do for a little bit. Anyway, I'm Mayor Watton. I'm getting out of here. I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye from on high?
bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's The Continuity Report. Come back next week for another episode, but come back tomorrow for more weekend episodes.
Yep. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye.